Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Snowflake live stream. My name is Renee. I am an AI product manager at Snowflake. And today I'm so excited to be talking with you on Cortex AI SQL, which is a new product that we launched at Summit. And this is an AI query language that using your familiar SQL syntax, but can up-level all the SQL analysts into AI superheroes to operate easily across large scale of data and across modality. I also have Dash here, my colleague. Dash,
Hey, everyone. Hey, Renee. How's it going?
good. Are you excited?
Yes, long time no see.
Long time no see.
So, hey, I also want to thank everyone for joining today. Really appreciate your time. We're super excited to show you this amazing thing that we just launched. Renee, you want to tell us more about it?
Yeah. So Cortex AI SQL, something we launched at Summit, is the market's most leading powerful SQL query language. And we are also transforming Snowflake into an efficient multi-modal query engine. So what is that? AI SQL is just your typical SQL syntax, but under the hood, we power that by AI. So it can handle both text and image and also audio data upcoming
Mhm.
PDF as well. And you can write your SQL query in all different clauses, like using a filter function in your word clause, or using an aggregate function the same way that you write in sum or average, but instead text and PDF corpus. So this is really Snowflake using the language of SQL to bring together your structure and unstructured data analytics, all being done in one block of SQL. So should we just jump into a demo to give people a gist?
Absolutely. And I just want to mention one thing that if you have any questions, just feel free to ask in the section, and then we'll get to them as we finish up the demo and do a little bit of explanation while we go along. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, what do we see here, Renee?
All right, imagine today that we are working on a music company where people can sending in all type of complaints. Typically, the complaints will not be in a clean form. You may get that from email. You may get someone's screenshot about complaining something, or it might even be voicemail.
Mhm,
So how can I even handle and get insights from that quickly? And in
mhm,
traditional days, I would need to go through a whole pipeline of I just need to orchestrate a bunch of different systems. I need to figure out what's the model and access, and I need to do complicated programming language with multiple files. But today we are going to show you that you can just do everything with a few blocks of SQL.
mhm.
So I think the first thing that we're going to see here is that we have people sending in support email and bug reports via images. And with this one block of SQL and our superpower AI complete function that pointing to the latest model that can process both text and image, the cloud model that we have here. We're actually offering Cloud 4 right now via our platform as well, so that you can just ask the model to get you summarize the issue that user has mentioned.
Yeah, you can just easily pass in these prompts, right?
That's right. And we also introduced this prompt function, which is helper function to help you construct the prompt easier.
Hmm.
So let's check the output of this table. So one thing to mention here, we also have a transcribe functionality in private preview that can take in an audio file easily. So even though we are not showing it here, indeed, you can try enroll to private preview today and test out our
Hmm.
transcription functionality. But yeah, here we have sources from image, which point to a file on the stage. It can be both internal or external stage, so you don't have to move your data. But if we look at the summary there, this is basically that we were able to extract insights from both the text email, the content with original email, and we got a summary from it. And then also we got a summary from the images that previously were impossible to process. But now you can easily do that via a simple SQL function within Snowflake.
Yeah, it seems pretty powerful.
Yeah. And I think the next type of question, once we have all the customer complaint insights getting in, people want to say, okay, how can I solve it? So traditionally, to map all the complaints into solution, it might be a very lengthy manual process. But imagine that you can use the power of relation database and database operation to solve that. Because we can describe the logical relationship as does the solution address the user concern?
Mm-hmm.
Which we can now using AI to express that as a join problem, where I'm joining the customer complaints, which is my insights table, into the solution center articles and asking this prompt, okay, given this customer issue, is this the right solution? So join operation by itself can be expensive, but Snowflake has done query engine optimization that we can adaptively route easier task to a smaller model and only the harder task to a larger model. So the query can run much faster and much cheaper.
That's
And
amazing. You can do all these things using just natural language and our powerful AI SQL functions.
that's right. Okay. It might be I think our production traffic might be a little bit jam right now. Maybe everybody's trying to run this. So why don't we take a quick look at the next functionality? Oh, here
There
you
you
go.
go.
Go on.
Folks,
Yeah,
it's all live, so anything can
yeah, it
happen.
is so live. And here you can see that there are a lot of issues already mapped to a solution. And there are issues that I don't have a solution, so that I have to talk to my support team and get their attention. Maybe we're missing solution articles. So it can be a very good reminder for us to flag out, okay, what's the new issues that we should address?
Nice.
All right.
Let's talk aggregate.
Aggregate. Okay. I think one thing people typically get scared of is that if I want to do analytics with 10 complaints, it's super easy. I just concact that 10 complaints and throw into one large language model. But in a real world use cases, what if I have tens of thousands of complaints, right?
Mhm.
I have all the different issues that coming in from all different sources. So how can I get an aggregated insights? And traditionally, it would be a multiple step of pipelining, or I'm trying to extract topics or whatever. It's complicated. And often it requires days to like of an iterative analytical process to get it right. But imagine now you have this AI ag operation that the operation now is literally as easy as sum or average. So
Mhm.
here we are grouping the data by months, as you can see. We are getting the structured insights, like we are counting the total credits and we are counting
Mhm.
the distinct user, your typical analytics. But now we are having another aggregate function of saying summarize the top issues from all the customer complaint ticket. And with this
Yeah,
function, we are
amazing.
passing in multiple lines here. It's like more than hundreds of rows of data,
Mhm.
and then we can get insights.
That's
Direct.
awesome. Let's look at it.
Let's look at it. It summarize, okay, like there are this percentage of people approximately have
Mhm.
payment issues, and then technical issues. It's like giving me everything in one shot,
Mhm.
one aggregate function.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. We also see often the time people want a little bit more hand orchestrating pipeline, which classify function can be a very handy.
Mhm.
So for example, if you want to train a machine learning model and you are trying to start a categorical variable for your machine learning model, the classify function can easily help you to sort your data into a predefined taxonomy. And
Mm.
we're showcasing a very tiny like toy use case right now, but we can take up to like 500 different labels, and we can also control the
Mm.
model to output multiple labels if that's what you desire.
Right. And let's look at the results. Here we go.
Yeah, and here we are basically trying to figure out, okay, I want customers' music preference data, but they're not telling me, right? Like we
Mm.
imagine that we do onboarding, sometimes we just skip the preference page, but from all those customer emails, can I extract what's their preference? And I can easily use in this classify function to get,
Mhm.
okay, what's their music preference?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And yeah, we can look at distribution here. Seems a lot of was that a lot of EDM fans.
Mm-hmm. Are you an EDM fan?
Trying to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with for block of SQL, we go
Mm-hmm.
through a whole unstructured data like transformation pipeline. And you can use this to get analytical insights directly. You can also use this to prepare data
Mm-hmm.
for whatever downstream operational or modeling pipelines. And this can now work across text and image. And as mentioned, we have audio functionality that's in private preview as well.
Mm. And while I'm sharing my screen, might as well show the quick start guide that anyone can follow along to recreate the exact same demo that we just walked through. And link to this is going to be provided in the comments below. So please check that out, and you will be up and running with this exact same demo. I would say within 30 minutes or less. A lot of copy paste.
Yeah, copy faster.
Right.
But yeah,
So I see that. Let's see. Anything else want to expand on? Like, how are these functions built, like behind the scenes? How do they compare with how you might do manually? I know we have some Python files that I can show. You want to talk about those? I can
yeah,
pop them up here.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that people like, obviously for very sophisticated programmer, they can always
Hmm.
use Python code or even like
Hmm.
other programming language and just call the REST API endpoint
Yeah.
and get a result. But one thing people didn't realize with the power of SQL is that
Hmm.
it's such an easier interface. As a data analyst, I'm so familiar every day in and day out. So
Hmm.
that it really empowers me to do more analytics. But one additional performance benefit you're getting from our query engine. First, we are doing a lot of automatic batching, smart
Hmm.
batching directly, with leveraging our like core infrastructure of warehousing, so
Hmm.
that it's much more efficient than you manage the multi-threading yourself, which is very complicated.
Mm.
And with that, we also, one thing Snowflake really takes to the next level is that we think our AI operation as of
Hmm.
native SQL operation. So when
Right.
we optimize each of those, we will try to have the query planner estimate, is AI a more expensive operation or is the rest of the query more
Hmm.
expensive, that which one should I execute first, basically.
Right.
So imagine I have scenario, I'm looking for a house and I'm
Hmm.
looking for a specific price range and I want this also to look very attractive and modern.
Hmm.
So if my SQL engine is not AI aware, then there might be a worst case scenario that I'm filtering on all the image that's fancy to start with. And
Hmm.
then I get to all the price filtering and range filtering if I'm writing in one SQL. That said, our query engine knows that AI operation gonna be more expensive. So we always do the cheaper filtering first, and
Mm.
then it goes to the like more expensive of detecting, okay, this image is fancy. I think the benefit it brings is really like you can feel more comfortable when writing those AI functions together with your SQL query. That you don't have to break down to temporary table, for example, right? Like you
Hmm.
don't have to materialize any intermediate step. You can just write one SQL that I filter on both structured data and unstructured data together.
Right. Nice. Maybe shed a little light on what kind of LLMs do we use behind the scenes, or is the execution somehow distributed amongst LLMs? How, why, that kind of stuff. I think they kind of go in. Yeah.
Yeah, so Snowflake, we're proudly as the platform that basically consolidates all the most advanced language model
Mm.
access, that we provide access directly to Anthropic and OpenAI models, and also all the best open source model, DeepSeek, Llama models, Mistral models,
Hmm.
so that you don't have to worry about where do I go to get access to all of this. You can just come to us with the native platform security and get access to our advanced models. And for some of the functionality like AI Complete, we allow you to
Hmm.
select model directly. For some others, that we are trying to manage under the hood of like what's the most performing and best quality model, so that when you use those functions, you can feel confident that it can just handle your task.
Nice. And do we distribute the load ourselves? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like
Mhm.
GPU is a very constrained resource, right?
Mhm. Right.
And if you are trying to spin up some compute resource, it's a lot of headache and it
Mhm.
might not be the most efficient. So Snowflake, as our GPU inference engine, that we would kind of smartly allocate the different load. And for example, if we see more demand for Llama 70B model, that we will
Mhm.
scale up that model's capability, while maybe some other models are less used, that will scale down the capability. So we really manage that infrastructure for you.
That makes sense. Yeah. And that's great that users don't have to worry about a lot of these things that are kind of hard to manage from an infrastructure standpoint.
That's right.
Yeah. I think we have some questions coming in. What about like? Can you talk a little bit more about multimodality?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole new area of data surface that we see AI unlocking people to look into. So, for example, previously when analysts do analytics, we are mostly operating on tabular data and
Mhm.
numbers. But now, as Aros AI can interpret across text, image, audio, PDF, why not saving
Mhm.
PDF or image on your table? That said, we introduce a new data type called file data type, where
Mhm.
you can imagine have a column of files. We are not physically moving your data. The file is a pointer to where the original storage is so that
Mhm.
we can operate upon it. With that basic infrastructure, we are kind of uploading Snowflake into a multi-modal database that you can have a column referencing to different type of file that you have.
Mm.
And then with leveraging all those amazing AI functionality, of having the model that can potentially like captioning my image, can extract insights from image, etc. So a lot more flavor of analytics that you might not even imagine before. I'll give a couple example of the very
Mhm.
interesting use case that we've been hearing. This has been really attractive for our media and entertainment clients, where
Mhm.
they often have different advertisement
Mhm.
type of contents. So previously, for them to understand what's the performance of each type of ads, they'll have to like kind of manually tagging, like manually tagging each image, or like best case, if I were very disciplined, that I will say, okay, this bucket was a nice kind of a more lifestyle flavor image, or that other one's more promotional, but it's a lot of work. Now
Mhm.
that people can just tag rows as easily using the image functionality within a Snowflake table, and then join into the click-through rate performance
Mm.
metrics, so that they know what type of ads is more efficient, and then they can put more focus across that type of asset.
That's incredible. I feel like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also all the transcription has also been a popular ask, just because people
Mhm.
getting like all different call center voicemail every day, and they want to get insights from it. And instead of having to manage a separate transcription service, you can now just using the transcribe function and pointing to that voice file that you may have.
Right. And then I see there's a question around best way to extract text information from images. I think the short answer is I think you can use AI Complete. Give it a model that you want to use, and then the prompt, right? If you wanted to
Yeah.
extract, yeah,
So
text from
obviously,
images.
image is a very, very wide spectrum,
Yeah.
right? Like there might be text heavy, like OCR
Hmm.
type scan image, which
Hmm.
we do have if you only want the text part, we have a parse document function that's
Hmm.
more doing OCR and get the text part. But there are cases where it's a more descriptive image of a landscape, or
Right.
it's like you actually can't really tell the textual part of it, that you
Hmm.
can just call to an image language model from our platform and get the image description back using the AI complete function.
Right. Nice. Can you talk a little bit about the use cases for analyzing unstructured data in SQL?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people have been trying to solve the same problem, but it is just really previously they don't have the tools to expand to broader surface of data.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the ads example that we just talked about, another very popular case is the customer 360 or
Mm-hmm.
like kind of call center type of use case where people got the like customer ticket day in and day out,
Mm-hmm.
and typically previously it's just in a textual column
Mm-hmm.
that there's no obvious action item that can be come out from a textual column. Now that we see people using the classification function to
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, try to map this complaint into specific error code or support
Yeah.
code that I have, so I can streamline the next step operations. That is one. And the other one is obviously the ag function that we just showed as a
Mm-hmm.
new tool for you to, okay, if I want to see for across all 1,000 what's the aggregated insights, and then I can use this AI ag function across 1,000 of support ticket and just get one specific insights in aggregation. So that has been really handy, and we see people apply that to customer support, call center
Mm-hmm.
use case over and over again.
Nice. That's awesome. So we already have amazing AI SQL functions like AI complete, filter, AI ag for aggregations, classification, AI classify. Like, where are we headed? Like, where do you think we're going? What's next?
So our mission has really been, first, we want to be the query engine that support all modality.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we are now working on text and audio, and we are also making PDF a native modality across all those functions. So we are working on AI extract function that will come out soon that you can just extract on documents. And besides, like video is also something that we are thinking in the roadmap. And I'll definitely be happy to talk to whoever's interested and figure out how people want to do video analytics. So that is one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another thing that we've been noticing with those easy to use operator is
Mm-hmm.
how that has empowered people to do pipelining across
Mm-hmm.
AI. So imagine an example of analytical question of like, okay, what's the aggregated market outlook
Mm-hmm.
for a specific for a company that has undergone a CEO change, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, it's a very complicated full set question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Even with AI, you have to do multiple steps.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can really do that in one SQL query using two functions.
Mm-hmm.
One, you do AI filter on where the undergone a CEO change on the business description.
Mm-hmm.
And two, you can call AI aggregate and get aggregated market insights across all those company has undergone a CEO change.
Right.
So that really makes you multi-step analytics much easier in one single block of SQL.
That's amazing. And then it's also important to kind of mention that the data is always secure and never leaves Snowflake, right? When we're using a lot of these AI functions within AI SQL or just in general in Snowflake, the data is always within your perimeter that you've already set up, right?
And also one thing to call is like we really don't need to move your data. If your data is already in a blob storage, then we
Mm-hmm.
can just work with external stage and walk off there. You have no need to move your data into Snowflake.
Right. How difficult is it to move the data into Snowflake?
That's also very easy.
Yeah.
That we should feel free to check out the other open flow announcement that
Yeah.
we did, which are very easy to use connector, especially handy for if you have docs in SharePoint or
Mm-hmm.
like Google Drive. Um, Instead of the cloud blob storage, then using the connector can easily allow you to connect that with Snowflake and then can be used for downstream processing.
Nice. And like as a product manager, what are you most excited about? Like what are some of the new use cases coming in that you're seeing that's kind of also driving, where AI SQL is maybe headed?
Yeah, so I think one thing I missed in terms of just the direction when we talked about previously is really the performance angle.
Mm,
And for a lot of users, doing this at toy level is cool,
mhm,
but really the value lies in doing it at a larger scale. for those AI functionality. So for a lot of those functions that we do, really native query engine optimization, both in terms of batching, but also algorithm innovations, like I was talking about for the filter task that calibrate at runtime was if it's an easier task, we just use a smaller model, and harder task, we use a larger model. So it runs much faster than you have to anchor everything into the best cloud model, for example. So that's something that we can keep investing, and we are always happy to work with customers on figuring out how to handle your larger scale unstructured data most efficiently.
Any numbers you can share around performance? I know we during Summit keynote we had some numbers that we had put up. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, when we did that exercise, we were comparing with a hand-curated solution that our engineer implemented in Python, where he did a lot of parallelization already. But still with that, for tasks like aggregation and classification, our query engine is 3 to 7 times faster. And for use case like filter and join, we can get even beyond that because we are directing a lot of cases to a smaller model. So it can really like up to 10 times of efficiency gain that you got with those functionalities.
Right. By the way, these features that or functions, I should say, that we have in SQL, are they also available in Python, the Python API?
Yeah, we have the Snowpark version of most of the functionality. There are a couple that we are still working in development that should be out soon, but you should be able to access most of functionality in Python pretty soon.
And AI SQL is in public preview?
Yes, we are in public preview.
Right. So anybody can try it out, especially if you want to get started really quickly. If you follow along the quick start guide, you'll get up and running within 30 minutes or less.
Yeah, I also see that one user have a question about a long complex PDF file with different parts of the text table and images. So we all
that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And for Snowflake, we really want to give you the different type of tooling that can handle across all scenarios. So we see use cases where there's more charts and more visual heavy, that people actually just pass that as an image to a cloud model. And the cloud model, as its like best visual capability, it can just read the charts and interpret what's in there. But if you really want an extraction of like, okay, this is a table extraction, this is a layout extraction, we have a public preview functionality called parse document, which the OCR part of it only do text, but we also have a layout functionality that we are working on that can give you different parts of the document. We also have a GA functionality called Doc AI, if that's another option for you to try out, because we all know that PDF use case can get a different spectrum of complication. So happy to work offline on some of those specificity as well.
Yeah, and Document AI is actually part of the platform, so you don't actually have to write any code or integrate with any other external app. It's basically within Snowsight, so you can get started really quickly by uploading PDFs.
And actually, what's even better, like I mentioned, we are working on this AI extract function, which is actually Doc AI under the thing. So bring Doc AI into those AI functions.
It's amazing. I guess we have maybe 30 seconds left. If anyone wants to ask a question really quick, we can get that in. But otherwise, before we sign off, I really want to thank everyone for joining us today. Really appreciate your time, and absolute best and thank you to Renee as well for her time. Renee, you want to have a thing to say to close it out?
Thanks, everyone. I think the power of AI in analytics is far beyond people's imagination, and we are really at the beginning of it. So Snowflake really want to be along with the journey of how do we empower analytics not only in structured data, but across unstructured data at scale. So keep an eye on our latest functionalities, and always happy to hear your feedback.
Fantastic.